Hi and welcome back. My name is Phil Riley. I'm a Guildhall student at SMU, Cohort 15, Level Design. This is Kismet Tutorial Part 1 using UDK version December 2010. Today's date is January 25th, 2011. Within the editor, we're going to look at this green icon here, this K with a tail. That is the button for accessing the Kismet interface. Let's first create a room. I've got a builder brush that's set up to 1024, 1024, 512, and I'm making it hollow. And let's go and do an add. And let's turn on our textures. We'll see we got a room here. I'm going to add a small light to the ceiling by holding down L and pressing the left mouse button. That puts a light at the top. I'm going to drag it down a little bit and hit F4 for its properties. I'm going to change the brightness of this light down just a little bit so it keeps the room from being in total darkness. And I'm going to go to close that menu. Today we're going to work on getting a toggle light so that the player can hit a button and have it turn the light on and off within the level. First we will need a toggle light from the content browser. Hit the icon and go to the actor classes. Under lights, point lights, there's a point light toggleable. Go ahead and highlight that, right click on any wall and hit add point light toggleable here. You can close the content browser and let's drag that light out. I'm going to put it near the other light. If you notice, the icon for it has a little pull chain, which is different than the light that is not toggleable. That is one way to tell the difference between the two. This light, let's hit F4, bring up its properties, and we're going to change its color. I want to change it to a green, and then hit OK. Go ahead and close that, and we have the light, and it's ready to go. To change this light, we need a trigger in the world. Let's go ahead and right-click on the wall, and go to Add Actor, and select Add Trigger. Trigger is commonly used, and that's why it's built into that Quick Start menu. I'm going to drag it out from the wall a little bit with the green arrow. Then I'm going to right-click on it, go to Transform, and say Align to Floor. That will position the trigger in a spot where I can use it without having to strain the camera up or down. With this trigger selected, let's go ahead and open the Kismet interface. Okay, Kismet's right about there. Here we go. Oh, got some stuff left over. I'll delete that out real fast. Now within Kismet, we've got the trigger selected. I'm going to go ahead and right click and say a new event using trigger 1. Trigger 1 is the trigger we placed into our level, and the event we want to capture tonight is used. So now we have a trigger 1 used icon as a node within Kismet, and when the player uses this trigger, it will do whatever we set up in this logic flow to come out. The other piece we want in Kismet is this light. I'm going to go ahead and highlight it, and I'm going to return back to Kismet, and we will see that I can do right click on new object variable using point light toggleable too. And there's our light, and it has a nice green color which matches the light's color we selected. To make this happen, for this trigger to work with this toggleable light, we need to add a toggle. We go ahead and right click and do a new action and go to toggle and select toggle. And that brings up this piece. This node here allows us to use input to turn on, turn off, or toggle our targets. In this case, our target is this light, so go ahead and click on this box for target and drag a wire to light. And now they are connected. A little head appears on the arrow, and we can drag this around, and that wire stays connected. To drag a single object around, go ahead and highlight it and hit Control, and then drag it with your mouse. You can grab multiple objects and move those, or if you just grab the background, it moves the camera. Now the trigger, when the player uses it, we want the used to toggleable light. So now when the player hits the E key to use the trigger, it will toggle this light. Let's go ahead and minimize Kismet. Go back to this trigger for a second and bring up its properties. If we don't uncheck this hidden box on this trigger, then we cannot see it in game. So we take that out and we close that. I'm going to go ahead and right click down here and say play from here, and that gets us into the level. Turn the volume down a little bit, and we'll see we have a trigger in front of us. If I hit it, the lights go out. Very nice. If I hit it again, the lights don't turn back on. Let me show you why. Hit escape, and let's head back into Kismet. This trigger, all triggers you put into Kismet, have this default max trigger count. You see it right here. It's set to 1. That's how many times we can actually use that trigger before it stops working. If I let the mouse hover over here, you'll see that it says if I set it to 0, I can use it infinite times. That's what we want in this case. We want it to be like a light switch at your house that you can use over and over and over again. Let's test this again. Back on our level and play from here. And I'll show you that I can now turn the light off and on. Fantastic. Let's get back into Kismet. Let's take this one step further. Now we've got this green light that does some really neat things, and we can turn it off and on. I'm going to drag it over here. what I want is, let's take our toggleable light and let's make a copy of it. Hold down the Alt key and select a directional arrow and drag out a copy. Let's hit F4 and let's change this light to red. That's a good color red right there. Alright, now if we go into the game, both lights will be there and only the green light will be on. Let me show you. I kind of blend and I turn that, the green light goes off and the green light comes back on and mixes the red for that interesting yellow color. Let's take that one step further. Now we got a red light and a green light. Let's highlight our red light, go back into Kismet, and we're going to add a new object variable, and there's our red light, and it has a convenient red color so we know it's there. What I want to do is I want to have this switch control both lights, but I want one on at a time. I don't want the red and green light on simultaneously. I want the switch to switch between red and green lights. Both lights start in the on position, so we need to tell this red light to be off initially. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a new event, and on level loaded, it's right there, we'll grab it. This level loaded event will fire when the level gets loaded up into the game or in the editor. And what we want is we want this level loaded command to turn this red light off. To do that, we'll need another toggle. I'm going to grab this toggle, I'm going to hit Control C and Control V to copy it. And I can drag it over here, and now we've got to copy this toggle. And if you notice, the wires from the original lights are still attached. To get rid of those, all you need to do is highlight the wire and alt-click it. And let's go right there. Bam. Let's drag the toggle over here. We want the target to be this red light. And when the level loads, beginning of level, we want to turn off the red light. Let's go test that right now. Play from here. If we see the level, it's green. And I hit it. Now it's red. And I hit it again. Now it's green. And red. And green. Fantastic. That's a really good start. Okay, in our next video, we're going to test adding a countdown timer to these lights. We'll see you then.